face to face, but on digital platform we have conducted series of webinars, and this is also one of them in line with those. Ladies and gentlemen, it is very important to understand the new education policy, which is under implementation phase. As UGC has advised all higher education institutions and universities across the nation to conduct series of webinars so that we can understand the nuts and bolts of this particular policy, and there will be a lot of interactions. Already many interactions are taking place on the portals of Sharnbasva University. Lot many scholars have been spoken right from the Katimini, Professor Katimini, the Vice Chancellor of Tribal University, who is a member of the drafting committee, and the latest Dr. Meenakshi Sundara. And some more webinars may continue. What is most important is why there is a need of new education policy, and what are the existing problems in the current policy, and how these problems will be addressed in the new policy, and the roadmap for the new policy are the areas wherein lot of discussion are required. Dear friends, I would like to take you back 4,000, 5,000 years back. Whenever I talk about national education policy, I make that we remind of history. India is a nation with a glorified history as far as higher education is concerned. Dear friends, India was hosting world's most popular universities in the name of Nalanda, Takshashila, Vallabhi and Vikramshila, wherein many foreign students along with Indians used to study. But in the last 4,500 years, something has happened. Our higher education system has gone down. We are nowhere in the top 100 universities across the globe. Now, some of the visible problems and some solutions which are available today is the policy makers are of the opinion that we have to go back to our good old ideas which have helped our oldest universities to be on the top of the world. And with the same ideas, many universities which are in the top 100 from American subcontinent, European subcontinent, and some of the Southeast Asian nations like Chinese, Japanese, Korean, their universities are in the top 100. The reason for that is they're all multidisciplinary large universities. One of the most sort of concept which is being spoken at length is the kind of the bad need of multidisciplinary large universities. In India, our university and education system has been damaged beyond repair by a concept called fragmentation. I don't know why that concept was originated in India, but under fragmentation, many good old multidisciplinary large universities have been divided into small universities and institutions, and that has really created a problem in the last 20 years. It's the time to address those problems. But at the same time, I'd like to remind you the picture Sharnbasva Sharnbasva University, whose leader is Apaji and Mathur Devaji. Under their leadership, nothing like that has happened in this university. From last 30-40 years, Pujya Apaji single-handedly added more and more subjects, made the university the campus, education campus rich in terms of many subjects and with lot of admission facilities. In the last 20-30 years, if you look at today's status is actually in the hard work and dedication. Now, Sharnbasva University is one of the large universities which looks for national scholars. Many of the universities in the nation have to transform themselves into from single subject to multidisciplinary, for which they have a 10 years time given by drafted in the national education policy and now education policies of the nation. So as far as that particular area is concerned, 10 years all now we start from research intensive perspective through various industries. I request today's expert to throw some light on some areas that how the national education policy of the nation benefit the people in order to form nation by systematically rearranging the higher education system in the country without further, I'll make the forum open for today's chief guest expert speaker, Dr. Meenakshi Sundaram, to take over. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We truly
We truly
appreciate your
appreciate
efforts
your efforts to show your presence
in today's
in
webinar
today's
and
webinar and online presence.
Your vision
Your
and
vision and vision to transform
excel
par excel
is our
is
motivating
our
factor.
motivating factor.
I once
I once again
show my
sincere thanks to you,
Next,
sir.
I would
Next, I would like to call upon Dr. Shrikant
Patil,
Patil, sir,
Chairperson,
Department of MCA, to introduce today's speaker, Dr. S. Meenakshi Sundaram, sir.
touching
The lotus feet of Lord Sharnbasva,
remembering
the divine soul, Puja Dodda Papaji,
with the
with the blessings of His Holiness,
Puja
Puja Dr. Sharnbasva Papaji, Matoshri Dr. Dakshayani Awaji,
and
and Chiranjeevi Puja Dodda Papaji,
respected
respected office bearers of our university,
Dean,
Chairperson, staff of our university,
and
and participants.
It gives
It gives me immense pleasure to introduce today's webinar resource person and speaker,
Dr.
Dr. Meenakshi S. Sundaram.
Sir,
Sir, born on 21st September 1965, completed his Bachelor's of Engineering in Computer Science
and
and Masters of Technology at National Institute of Technology, Tiruchirappalli. Awarded PhD in the areas of wireless and communication networks, Anna University, Chennai, in the year 2014.
Sir
has published two books and 38 research articles in national and international journals. Currently, 6 scholars pursuing PhD under his guidance in the areas of networking and distributed systems.
Apart
Apart
from
from this,
Sir
has delivered
special
lectures in various seminars,
conferences,
conferences, and workshops.
Sir won the
best paper award entitled
A Secure
A Secure VDDEP
Fast Search
Search Algorithm
for
for
Encrypted
data in cloud computing environment
at the fourth
International Conference organized by AIMS Engineering College, Bengaluru, in the year 2016.
Dr.
Dr. Meenakshi S. Sundaram has
28 years of teaching
28 years of teaching experience and 10 months of industry experience.
Sir currently
working as professor and head Department of Computer Science and Engineering, GSSS Institute of Engineering and Technology for Women's, Mysuru.
It's our
pleasure to have you on this occasion, sir.
I am
thankful to University giving me an opportunity to introduce Dr. Meenakshi S. Sundaram.
Thank you,
one and all. Thank you, sir.
I now
request our today's speaker, Dr. S. Meenakshi Sundaram, sir, to take over the session.
Yes, sir. Before starting with the session, I would like to thank the organizers from Sharnbasva University for inviting me to deliver a webinar on National Education Policy 2020, where today I am going to share some of the overviews on curriculum, pedagogy, regulations and accreditation process. First and foremost, I would like to thank the founder, president, the chancellor, the vice chancellor, the registrar, the deans, and also the organizers, the faculty of computer applications, Mr. Kiran, for accepting me as a resource person for delivering the webinar today. So first, I would like to share my agenda. First, I would like to speak about the evolution of the education policy, the key principles of National Education Policy 2020, transforming curricular and pedagogical structure, a reduction in curriculum, the timelines for implementation of National Education Policy 2020, major reforms in school education and higher education, the Indian knowledge systems, languages, culture and values, use of technology, outcome of National Education Policy 2020, the NEP 2020 committee members, quality, universities and colleges, challenges faced in the current higher education system, benefits of multidisciplinary higher education institutions and institutional restructuring and consolidation, and also the new institutional accreditation for higher education. And first, let us see about the vision of the National Education Policy as far as the 2020 release was there. Before 1 year, the vision was in 2019, where the idea was to envision an India-centered education system that contributes directly to transforming our nation substantially into an equitable and vibrant knowledge society by providing high quality education to all. The focus as far as the vision of the NEP 2020 is concerned is India should be centered where nation with sustainability and equitable education with vibrant knowledge to the society, wherein the idea is to provide the high quality of education to all concerned. As far as the regulations and accreditation policies are, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted by the UN General Assembly in 1948 declared that everyone has got the right to education. And in Article 26 in the declaration it is stated that education shall be free, at least in the elementary and fundamental stages, and elementary education shall be made compulsory, and that education shall be directly to fulfill the development of the human personality and strengthening of the human rights and fundamental freedoms. This is what the UN Act, Human Rights Declaration says in 1948, that education is a right for everybody. Now, as far as learning is concerned, it is a treasure within, which has the International Commission on Education in the 21st Century, chaired by Jacques Delors, submitted to UNESCO in 1996. So he says education has 4 pillars. Okay, the first pillar is of learning to know. So learning to know is acquiring body of knowledge and learning how to learn. Learning how to learn so that we benefit from the opportunities of education that provides throughout the life. The second idea, second pillar in learning is learning to do. So learning to know is knowing something, and then learning how to learn is the first concept. The second idea, the second pillar is learning to do, acquiring not only occupational skill but also the competency. Okay, acquiring competency to deal with many situations and work in teams, and a package of skills and enables one to deal with various challenges of working life. So learning to know, the second pillar in the education for life is learning to do, and the third one is learning to live together. The third idea is learning to live together, developing an understanding for other people and appreciating the spirit of values like mutual understanding, bringing in peace, harmony, all these things when people live in a society. So the learning should make people to practice ethics and should be able to lead some practice moral values and lead a healthy life so that the total society is transformed. So that is learning to live together. And the fourth one is about learning to be, developing one's personality, like for example act of autonomy, judgment, reasoning, decision making, and personal responsibilities like understanding about the people, memory, reasoning, sense, like physical capabilities and communication skills of individuals. So when learning happens, all these things automatically happen, like memory power increase, reasoning, then that aesthetic sense or physical capabilities and communication skills. So these are the 4 pillars as given by Jacques Delors. So learning to know, learning to do, learning to live together, and learning to be. These are the 4 pillars for learning. Okay, and let us understand what do we mean by social and economic learning. The process by which children and adults acquire these competencies are also referred to as the social and economic learning. So students must develop both foundational skills and higher order cognitive skills. So foundation skills like literacy, numeracy at the lower level, and when you come to the higher education, we are focusing only on the higher order cognitive skills like critical thinking, problem solving, social and emotional skills, what we refer to as soft skills, and also we include cultural awareness today, where we identify empathy. We have to understand what people what other people feel. We must be able to understand others' feeling. Then perseverance and grit for teamwork and leadership are some of the skills which is become very mandatory for survival. Okay, so when students enter into the education system, let it be foundation skills like literacy or numeracy, or at the higher level. Okay, when we talk about engineering education, we are all focusing on higher order thinking skills like analysis, then about evaluation skills and creativity skills. So these three skills, the higher order thinking skills, according to Bloom's taxonomy, carries more weightage apart from the lower order thinking skills like remembering, understanding, and application. So these things we focus at the school education level. So wherein we focus on remembering, understanding, and application level to some extent. But when we are more worried as how these students can be made to focus on the higher order thinking skills, wherein we ensure that the students are involving more in analytical skills enhancement, then evaluation skills and creativity skills. So this is how our Bloom's taxonomy has gained more importance, and how it has taken a pace even for accreditation of the departments or even the institution as far as NAC, NBA or NAC both are concerned, wherein we want to ensure that higher education institutions focus on the higher order thinking skills, and where the students are capable of understanding the requirement of the day, where the students when they graduate, they should be totally independent, they should be able to survive independently, they must be able to understand many of the problems that exist in the society, and they should be in a position to solve at least many of the problems, whatever is possible to their extent, and practicing teamwork, establishing moral values, and always concerned about the society, for the development of the society. And these are the things what we are going to identify and focus in the National Education Policy 2020. As far as the National Education Policy, the idea first began in 2015, where a committee, the TSR Subramaniam Committee, and the inputs given by them, some inputs like the Draft Education Policy 2016 was brought out by MHRD in 2016, and in June 2017, then Human Resource Development Minister Shri Prakash Javadekar chaired a committee to draft a new education policy in another 6 months. And National Education Policy 2020 committee was put into force, where the idea was out of box thinking, where the thinking of forming the education policy was totally out of the box. Okay? And this is the evolving how actually the transformation has taken place as far as the education policy is concerned. The University Education Commission in 1948 to 49. Then the next transformation was in 52-53 related to the Second Education Commission. Then later on, the Education Commission in 64-66 under Dr. D.S. Kothari has taken place. Then in 68, National Education Policy and Education. Then in 76 and 86. After 92, if we see the National Education Policy in 1986, which was modified in 92, after 92 up to 2020, the number of revisions made was very large. That means no revisions were made. The duration was so big, so where the education policy was not totally modified. Okay, We started with the TSR Subramaniam Committee in 2016. Dr. K. Kasturagan Committee gave the report in 2019, and in 2020, the idea of implementation and the suggestions were invited from various universities, the heads of the institutions, as to how this will go about over a period of time. And this was the procedure whatever was formulated, and it is released as a draft copy in 2020. So, and the major reforms in higher education, as far as the Indian education policy, national education policy is concerned, is 50% gross enrollment ratio should happen at least in another 15 years in 2035. The expected is 50% of gross enrollment ratio in higher education institutions like universities or deemed universities, and also the standalone institutions. And a holistic and multidisciplinary education, with giving flexibility of subjects, multiple entry or exit, where the UG programs to be considered as 3 or 4 years, and UG program 1 or 2 years, integrated 5-year bachelor or master's degree program. And more important is this MPhil course is likely to be discontinued as far as the NEP 2020 is concerned, and the credit transfer and academic bank of credits. So actually the higher education institutions, the research intensive teaching, intensive universities and autonomous degree granting colleges, that is the main focus, wherein the education can do a great extent so that the nation moves forward, is with wherein the autonomous institutions will become degree granting institutions instead of being affiliated to universities. Okay, and research and intensive teaching as a major part in the universities, and model disciplinary education and research university. Okay, and creating multidisciplinary education and research universities is the major concern in the National Education Policy 2020. And other reforms are the graded autonomy, the academic or administrative and financial needs, then phasing out of the affiliation system in another 15 years. As I told, in 2035, the affiliation system will be totally moved away. And the National Mission on Mentoring and Independent Board of Governors, wherein we will have a single regulator for higher education, excluding legal and medical, and excluding these two, the legal and medical, there will be a single regulatory body for the higher education, an online self-disclosure based transparent system for approvals in place of inspections. Actually, earlier if we take the same scenario with the AICT, 15 or 20 years back, every year the AICT used to come and inspect the institutions for approval. But not recently, it has changed. Even in AICT, all information are loaded transparently into the system, and it is being verified, and inspection is done. Everything is online only. Whenever there is a need, then only the committee comes for inspection. So that is called the self-disclosure, okay, and transparency. So the same system will be implemented further, online self-disclosure and transparent system for approvals. And there will be certain common norms for the public and private higher educational institutions. And also this will focus on the private philanthropist partnerships and free fee fixation within board regulatory frameworks, and public investment in education sector to reach 6% of GDP at the earliest. So these are the some of the major concerns, and more important about the National Research Foundation, where the focus will be to take about the research at the national level at par with the international standards, then internationalization of education, and integration of vocational teacher and professional education. So that is one more new concept, vocational education and teacher education along with the professional education, and the setting up of new higher education institutions as we made easier, standalone higher education institutions and professional education institutions will evolve into multidisciplinary. Similarly, the special education zones for disadvantaged regions, and the National Education Technology Forum, and MHRTB has already been renamed as Ministry of Education. So MHRD recently has been renamed as the Ministry of Education. All these reforms, some things have taken place and some things are in the front line to happen over a period of time. Now let us take about the use of technology. Okay. So first we will take about the technology. So as we know, with the use of computers, all activities have been automated and most of the processes have become online. And even today, even during the pandemic season, the students are, even the faculty are able to communicate with each other only with the help of these technologies. So we are going to ensure that we use the technology for education planning, teaching, learning, assessment, management and administration. Similarly, for regulations like self-disclosure and minimum human interface, that is been happening now also. And increasing the access for disadvantaged groups, and the education software for Divyang friendly and e-content in regional languages is another concern, and implementation and usage of virtual labs, the National Education Technology Forum, and digitally equipping schools, teachers and students, where Digital India has taken a major transform, where the students, even at the school level to the primary or middle school or the higher level at the colleges or even institutions of national importance, everywhere this technology has started playing a major role. Now let us see the major reforms right from the school education, and then we will move towards higher education institutions. So the major reforms as far as the school education is concerned is about the universalization of early childhood care education, that we normally call it as the ECCE. The National Mission on Foundational Literacy and Numeracy. The structure has become the 5+3+3+4 curricular and pedagogical structure. So the curriculum is to integrate the 21st century skills like mathematical thinking and scientific temper has to be integrated into the education system, and there is no rigid separation between the arts and sciences, between curricular and extracurricular activities, between the vocational and academic streams. Flexibility is given, and choice of selection of subjects based on the students' interest. It's just like as we select our elective subjects, the distinct separations have been removed. Okay, so there is no rigid separation between arts and science, curricular, extracurricular, vocational, academic streams. So the education becomes a gift to the children, and the reduction in curriculum to core concepts and vocational integration from class 6 onwards will become mandatory. As far as the school education is concerned, the National Education Curriculum Framework for the early childhood care education, that is what, as I told, ECCE, childhood education care, the teachers and adult education. The board examinations will take low stakes and based on knowledge and application. The medium of instruction till grade 5 shall, and preferably till grade 8 and beyond, in home language. So there is some major reform what is being made, where the student is given the opportunity to study in their own mother tongue or regional language, and the progress of the child is going to take shape with 360 degrees of holistic approach, wherein the overall view of 360 degrees holistic development of the student will be shared as the progress card, and tracking student progress and achieving learning outcomes. And the National Assessment Center, a common national assessment center, PARAC, is being formed, and also the NTA to offer common entrance test for admission to higher educational institutions. And a common national professional standards for teachers is to be formed, and book promotion policy and digital libraries and transparent online self-disclosure and public oversight and accountability are some of the reforms what are going to be made in the school education system. The outcomes of the NEP 2020 is, as we know, okay, the universalization of the ECCE to secondary education by another 10 years in 2030, aligning and attaining the foundation of learning and numerical skills and national mission by another 5 years, 2025. 100% enrollment ratio, gross enrollment ratio GER in preschool to second level by another 10 years, and bringing back around 2 crore out of school children into the education system is one of the outcome what is expected from the NEP 2020 as far as the school education is concerned, and teachers to be prepared for assessment of reforms by in another 3 years, and inclusive and equitable education system by another 10 years is one of the major outcome of NEP 2020 as far as the school education is concerned, and board exams to test core concepts and application knowledge. So instead of testing the application knowledge, so the examination system will take a different change, wherein the concepts, the basic or fundamental concepts, which is going to build the students, will be given more importance instead of testing the application knowledge at the school level. Every child will come out of the school adapt to at least one skill. So as I told earlier, so skill enhancement and identification of skills, building the skills or vocational training and education, so that the skill level is enhanced, and a common standards for learning in public and private schools is made common. Okay, the standards of learning even in the private or in the public schools are made common. A common standard is made available throughout the school education. Now let us take a overview of the Dr. K. Kasturirangan committee members who have formed the NEP 2020. So Dr. K. Kasturirangan, the chairman, and Dr. Vasudha Kamath, Dr. Manjul Bhargava, Dr. Ram Shankar Kotil, Professor T.V. Katimani, Shri Krishna Mohan, Dr. Mazhar Asif, Dr. M.K. Sridhar, and Shri Rajendra Pratap Gupta. So these are around 9 of the main important members. In that, Dr. K. Kasturirangan has been in charge who was chaired as the chairman for drafting the National Education Policy 2020. So as we know, Dr. Kasturirangan is none other than the former chairman of the ISRO and the honorary distinguished scientific ISRO advisor. Okay. And Vasundhara Kamath is the former vice chancellor of SNDT Women's University Mumbai, KJ Alphonse and Manjul Bhargava from Princeton University, USA, and Ram Shankar Kuril, former VC of Baba Sahib Ambedkar University, then Dr. T.V. Katimani, vice chancellor of Indira Gandhi National Tribal University from Madhya Pradesh, then Krishna Mohan Tripathi, the Director of Education, Secretary and former chairperson of Uttar Pradesh High School and Intermediate Examination Board, and Mazhar Asif, Professor Center for Persian and Central Asian Studies from Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi, M.K. Sridhar, the former Member Secretary, Karnataka Knowledge Commission from Bangalore, and also Dr. Rajendra Pratap Gupta, the former advisor to Human Minister of Human Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, and Shakila. So these are the people who are mainly involved, people from various disciplines who have worked above vice chancellors and who have contributed to the education or even in the research. So these people have put in the out-of-box thinking to frame the National Education Policy 2020. As far as I told, the 10+2 structure has been changed to 5+3+3+4 for the current 10 plus 2 structure, which is a policy covered from schooling to 10, 6 to 16, and then class 11 to 12 between the age 16 to 18 gives way to 5 years of foundation education, then 3 years of preparatory, 3 years of middle schools, and 4 years of secondary education. So the 10 plus 2 has been transformed to 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So 5 years for foundational education, 3 years for preparatory, and 3 years of middle, and 4 years of secondary schooling. And as far as multi-stream flexibility to choose the subjects, as I told earlier, across the streams, and diluted board exams, where, as I told, the object and subjective examinations will be conducted to check the competencies, would be offered twice a year. Multilingual policy for learning, and bagless days, at least 10 days, bagless days in a year during school days should be imported into the system. That is for the informal internship even in the schools. And as far as the colleges are concerned, okay, for colleges, a common national testing agency will take up the common college entrance examinations twice a year, and the 4-year bachelor education degree will become multidisciplinary instead of focusing on certain disciplines individually. So it will be made multidisciplinary, and the program would be preferred, and even midterm dropouts will be given credits, and the break option also is available to complete the degree even after taking a break into the system. And as I told earlier, there will be no affiliations, and affiliations will be tried to be removed in another 15 years, giving graded autonomy to give away degrees and affiliations, and universities to end. So would be doomed university in status. Okay? So number of deemed universities will be more over a period of time in another 15 years. And proposal for fees by private educations and higher education institutions have been considered, and the global universities becoming local. So top graded global universities to be facilitated to come to India, and top Indian institutions to be encouraged to go global. So interchanging of universities from foreign universities to India, and Indian universities to foreign countries, this transformation, that is local, okay, that is becoming the global universities come to local, and local universities becoming global is the next transformation, what is being identified in the new policy. As I told, the 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 scheme is 5 years for foundation course, 3 years for the preparatory school, and for 3 years for the middle or upper primary, or the another 4 years is considered for the high or the secondary stage in the grades 9, 10, 11 and 12. So this is the structure which is taking place in place of the 10 plus 2 education. So the new national education framework for school education, the school teachers and adult education. As I told earlier, the board examinations will take low stakes, and based on knowledge and application is given more weightage, and the testing patterns will be changed, and the medium of instruction till grade 5 will be in their home language or mother tongue or regional languages. And as I told earlier, 360 degrees holistic progress card for the children, and tracking student progress for achieving learning outcomes will be the major reforms in the school education. And as I told earlier, the National Assessment Center, then the National Professional Standards for Teachers, NPST, then group promotion and digital libraries, transparent online self-disclosure for public oversight and accountability, and universalization of the early childhood and care education. So the major reforms in National Education Policy 22, more higher educational institutions will use mother tongue, local languages as a medium of instruction, and or offer programs bilingually to increase the access of the gross enrollment ratio, GER, gross enrollment ratio, and promote the strength, usage and vibrancy of Indian languages. Okay, so India is diversified with having more than hundreds of Indian languages, where people will be the students will be benefited to study in their own language. Interactive and fun classrooms where the questions are encouraged with creative, collaborative and exploratory activities for deeper and more experiential learning. So this is a major transformation where learning in the young age will become more and more interactive and fun-based learning, where more questions, queries will be encouraged, focusing on creativity and collaborative and exploration activities for learning in depth, and gaining more and more experience will be the more major focus in the education system. And students will be given increased flexibility and choice of subjects to study across the arts, humanities, science, sports and vocational subjects. As I told, the boundaries will be removed and more flexibility for choosing the subjects as far as their own choice or whichever skill they want to improve. So now it becomes open for the students, and they will become more and more comfortable to study any subject in the curriculum, whatever is available as to their aspirations. There will be no hard separation between the arts and science streams or even between the academic and vocational streams, and these boundaries have been removed. Since children learn languages more quickly between 2 to 8 years, and multilingualism and great cognitive benefit for students, children will be immersed in 3 languages early on from the foundation stage. As I told, in the younger age, when they are in the foundation level, the students in the initial 5 years will be taught in their own mother tongue, and they have the flexibility for enhancing their cognitive skills as far as multiple languages are concerned. And young children learn to grasp non-trivial concepts more quickly at their home, using their home language or mother tongue. So that is everywhere known. Okay, so whenever we make the students to understand, we use the most preferred language, that is their mother tongue. So immediately the students are able to grasp. So that is what is the focus in the school education. The school education will develop scientific temper, aesthetic sense, communication, ethical reasoning, digital literacy, and the knowledge related to Indian country, about the critical issues faced in the community and also in the world. So this brings in more awareness in the school education, where the students will be exposed to the real-time affairs, whatever is happening within the locality or in the region or in the state or within the country or even in the whole world. So education emphasizing on creativity and innovation, as I told. So these two keywords, buzzwords, the creativity and innovation, which includes arts for thinking and creating their skills. Okay, that is also one important aspect in the education, creativity and innovation skills, which includes arts. Okay, and every student has innate talents which must be discovered, nurtured, fostered and developed. So this is the most important point what we can understand at the young age, where every student has got one talent. It is a duty of the faculty, the teacher or even the faculty at the engineering level to identify the innate talent of a student. It is the duty of the teacher or even the faculty in the colleges to discover their talent, nurture and foster, and see that that skill is developed and the students are comfortable in leading their life. So they are able to make a lifelong learning and living. So that is the most important concept, where every student must know. They will not know what is their talent. It is now the duty of the teacher or even the faculty in the college education to ensure that the talent is identified, that skill is maximized and it is nurtured. The culture of assessment must shift from primary test to memorization. Just instead of that, we have to focus on promotion of formative test and which leads to higher order skills. Okay. Now let us focus on our actual area in the universities and the higher education system. So from now onwards, we will talk more about the higher education institutions, the universities, autonomous colleges, or standalone institutions. So the quality universities and colleges, a new and a forward-looking vision for India's higher education system, where the higher education must develop good, well-rounded and creative individuals with intellectual curiosity, spirit of service and strong ethical compass. So as I told, the individuals whom we are developing at the college level, we have to ensure that the students are identified and given holistic training where we ensure that they are very creative individuals with intellectual curiosity. So they must acquire the talent of learning, discovering and going to the higher order thinking skills, okay, where the intellectual curiosity is kindled, the spirit of the service and strong ethics, as I told. When it comes to the next application of this NEP 2020, outcome of NEP 20, we have to ensure that there is a spirit of service and strong ethics which is imbibed into every student who is entering into the education. All higher education system will happen in multidisciplinary institutions with teaching programs across disciplines and in the fields to ensure optimized resources integrating various disciplines and vibrant knowledge. So as I told, so these institutions will become multidisciplinary institutions and will be offering teaching programs across multiple disciplines and using optimized resources. So higher education must build expertise that society will need for the next 25 years and beyond. So the focus is for another 25 years up to 2045. There is an idea whatever the roadmap our NEP 20 has given. I will show in the last few slides. Education must build expertise that the society will need over the next 25 years and beyond. Simply tailoring people into jobs that exist today but likely will disappear over a period of time. So that becomes counterproductive and it is really not required. So there should be a proper vision, a focus should be there, objectives and goals should be met. So the future work and demand will be related to all critical thinking, communication, problem solving, creativity and multidisciplinary capability. So this will be the future in another 15 or 20 years. The total transformation will take place where critical thinking is given more emphasis, which includes communication, problem solving, creativity and multidisciplinary capabilities. Also the cultural literacy, global outlook, teamwork, ethical reasoning and social responsibility will not only help to develop outstanding employees but also outstanding citizens and communities. As we know, okay, so when the literacy is focused on to the society, automatically the culture goes to the next level where a cultural literacy society is built with a global outlook where the people in the society are able to work in a team and the individuals are built with ethics and they are able to do proper reasoning and take up social responsibilities. So this is not available even today. The students, everybody, if you take today, they are all self-centered and they are not knowing how to work in teams and how they are able to be creative or innovative even to product realization or creative thinking when it comes to ethics. Everywhere the students fail. We have to ensure that these students will be developed as outstanding employees in the future and also outstanding citizens and contributors to the community development. So this is how the education system will be focusing on. As far as India is concerned, India has over 800 universities and approximately 40,000 colleges, reflecting the overall severe fragmentation and small size of educational institutions currently in the country. So with these 800 universities and 40,000 colleges in our country, world, we are not able to compete worldwide. So I will give the overall statistics later. where India stands as far as the education is concerned. 40% of these colleges in the country run only single programs. 40% of the 40,000 colleges run only single programs, and 20% of the colleges have enrollment ratio even below 100. 20% of these colleges, and only 4% of the colleges have enrollment over 30 or only 3,000. Okay, according to the survey made, All India Higher Education Survey made in 2016-17, only 4% of colleges have more than 3,000 enrollment ratio. GER, as I told, GER. It is around only 3,000. That has to be enhanced based on our new educational policy. And too much of early specializations and streaming of students into disciplines, this silo has to be broken. Okay, the specialization and disciplines, and not focusing on multidisciplinary approach. Okay, so the silos, we have to separate the disciplines within the institutions, and the total education system should be open so that the students are flexible to choose their own interested subjects, even without considering it is their own discipline. The students in engineering are generally not encouraged or not even allowed to take courses outside their single program. So, for example, let us take a situation like arts, humanities, social sciences, or even pure sciences. They cannot break the rule. They have to be only in the boundaries. So, this silo has to be broken, and thousands of students produced with identical educations rather than true individuals and human beings exercising their own creativity. So instead of making the students all identical in their own education, in their own boundaries, we want to ensure that people are able to think, they are able to break the barriers and have a thinking which is totally different. What is expected in the society should be the thinking of the individuals, okay? Wherein the students are able to apply their thinking, their skill, and solve any of the problems that exist in the society for the benefit of the society. So that is where the students should be made to develop their own talents, and we have to identify their interests are modified into talents, and the students are developed. Such rigorous boundaries and silos violate the basic element of the good higher education. So these silos have to be broken. That has become a major important concern. And lack of teacher autonomy has led to severe lack of faculty motivation and scope of innovation. So the faculty even should be able to take autonomy and have a wide scope for innovation. They should be thinking on their own to solve any of the problems in their own engineering, or let it be interdisciplinary. They have to ensure they are more creative, and they are making the students also creative, wherein the way of thinking changes and way of innovation. So when the thinking changes, automatically the product realization, when we implement the thinking process and we are able to see a realized product because of the way of thinking or the thinking pattern and the way of identification of the problem, this thinking pattern changes in creativity leads to product innovation, and the society will be benefited. That is where the teacher autonomy has to be given. And even in the system of affiliated colleges, which are required to follow central syllabus, curriculum, pedagogy, and textbook, makes it very difficult to provide teachers with such autonomy. So breaking all these silo even in the curriculum has to be looked into, and autonomy must mean the freedom to innovate. So that is what is meant now. The meaning of autonomy here now means the freedom to innovate, to compete, to cooperate, to govern more locally, to optimize resources. So this will be the idea in autonomy, wherein let be an individual as a faculty or as a department or as an institution or as a university. So the freedom for innovation, the freedom for improving the competencies, and how to cooperate and govern more locally and optimize the resources by applying the direct knowledge, whatever they have acquired, and identifying the opportunities to excel. So this is what is expected in the years to come. So autonomy has given more emphasis in the higher education system, where even the individual faculty or the department or the institution, let it be a standalone or a autonomous institution or a higher university also, or a institution of national importance also. So the freedom to innovate is always there, but people have to focus more on the innovation and improving the competencies, and to ensure that all the resources, whatever is available, have been optimally utilized. Okay. Inadequate mechanisms for career management and progression of faculty and institutional leaders, lack of suitable structure for career management of the faculty and of the institutional leaders. So there is a lack of suitable structure for career management, because things are not made clear, because we have been focusing on only disciplinary approaches and not breaking the rule, going and entering into multidisciplinary approaches and ensuring what the industry's requirement is. So only maybe 10% or 15% of the students who graduate out of the institutions, maybe let it be individual or independent institutions or autonomous colleges or even universities, the actual requirement goes only to 14% of the students who are graduating. The lack of the system of selection, tenure, promotion, not based on merit, but should actually change. The system of selection, tenure, promotion, salary increments, and recognition on vertical mobility of faculty, institutional leaders. It's not based on merit, but tends on either seniority based or arbitrary. So this system has to totally change, and everything has to be changed to merit based, wherein the system has to ensure that the faculty are productive, they are moving towards the higher order thinking skills, and they are able to innovate and prove that they are more suitable into the system. The lack of research in most universities and colleges, and the lack of transparent and competitive peer-reviewed research funding across disciplines, this is one of the challenges to be faced. Okay? The lack of research at most universities and colleges, and the lack of transparent and competitive peer-reviewed research funding across disciplines. So this situation has to change, okay, where research has to be given more emphasis in the universities, and research funding across a variety of disciplines from various funding agencies, and suboptimal governance and leadership for higher education institutions, and a regulatory system allowing fake colleges to thrive while considering excellent innovative institutions. See, this it is a system fault, where the regulatory body has to ensure they should not allow any fake colleges to thrive in the system, okay? And not giving more importance to excellent or innovative institutions. So this system has to be given more emphasis. That is what is taken care in the new education, National Education Policy 2020. So the benefits of the multidisciplinary higher education institutions with more than 5,000 students, it will give students vibrant communities and scholars where peers will be able to learn much more. So this will be some of the benefits to the higher education institutions when a multidisciplinary approach in learning is brought into. So it will break the down harmful silos between disciplines, as we have discussed earlier. The silos within the disciplines, the boundaries will certainly be broken, and the students will have a multidisciplinary approach to solve any of the real-time problems that exist in the society. So this will also enable students to become well-rounded and develop optimally both sides of the brains. As I told, the left side or even the right side of the brain, where the artistic or creative and analytic capabilities of the brain. So both the learning will happen. So the students will be able to have physical and mental capabilities both together, and they are able to bring out the learning to the maximum. So that will be the focus and a benefit when this multidisciplinary approach focusing on creativity and innovation is looked into. It will also help to develop active research communities across disciplines, particularly cross-disciplinary research. Okay, when the boundaries in the disciplines are broken, So cross-disciplinary research will take place, and it will be the key for the innovation of the 21st century. So even if we take even in engineering, the students are confined only to their particular disciplines. They try to solve the problems, and students from multiple branches or disciplines don't join together and do even a single project or try to progress. So this learning has to happen. Okay? So wherein the cross-disciplinary research will be the key for innovation of the 21st century, and it will also improve the efficiency of the resources and the resource sharing, both material, human, and in the higher education in total. So this helps us to improve in the order of magnitude the efficiency of use of resources, resource sharing, both material and human beings across the higher education system. So these are some of the multidisciplinary benefits to higher education institutions with more than 5,000 students. The institution restructure and consolidation is concerned. The objective is the vibrant multidisciplinary institutions of high quality that increase capacity of higher education in India and ensure equitable access. New institutional architecture with large, well-resourced, vibrant multidisciplinary institutions for teaching and research will significantly expand reach and capacity. So this architectural structure for the modeling, where we are able to use, will be optimally using the resources, let it be the human beings or machinery. These multidisciplinary institutions will not only be focusing on teaching but also more on the research perspective. So the professional education will be an integral part of the higher education. The professional education becomes an integral part of the higher education. The new institutional architecture for higher education, all higher education institutions by 2030 will develop into one of these three types. So this will be the focus in another 10 years. Three gradings are given, the type 1, type 2 and type 3. In type 1, they are, we call them as all research universities, where we focus more on the research publications, funded research and product innovations. Similarly, the second category, type 2, will be all teaching universities, where the focus is more on the teaching, learning, expertise, building in creativity and innovation. Research also is there, but it is not so mandatory or in that level as expected in the research university. Similarly, next, the third type will be the colleges, affiliated colleges, where these colleges will become standalone. So these three kinds of institutions will differ in the focus of goals and work, and will have equal commitment to ensuring high quality of education. The focus will be on any of these type 3 institutions, type 1, type 2 or type 3. The goal will be only on the quality of education. Let us take one by one. The type 1 research university, as I told. When we talk about these research type 1 universities, research universities, so the focus is only on the cutting edge research of new knowledge creation. So the knowledge what we are going to imbibe into the individuals with a focus on cutting edge research and new technologies will be the major concern, and these research universities as usual will offer UG, PG and PhD. The professional and vocational programs will also be offered in these institutions, in the research universities, type 1 universities. What is expected over a period of 2 decades, a couple of hundred institutions, maybe, let us say, maybe from 150 to 300 will belong to this category, and each will aim for on-campus enrollment between 5,000 to 25,000 or more is expected over a period of time in another 20 years, maybe in 2040. 150 to, let us take 150 as a minimum scale. 150 such research university should exist in India, where the on-campus enrollment should be minimum 5,000 to a maximum expected is around up to 25,000. Gross enrollment ratio should happen for a period of 2 decades. So that is what is expected. So when this happens, where the focus is on cutting edge research and new knowledge creation, The outcome of NEP 2020 will aim to become world-class research universities and compete with global institutions. So all these things will happen only when there is a focus on cutting-edge research as far as new technologies or new problems are identified for the benefit of the society. The second part, the category is the type 2 teaching universities, where we focus more on the teaching. So these undergraduate, masters, doctoral or professional, vocational, even certificate and diploma programs will be added to these teaching universities, where teaching is given more primary importance. Even research can happen. The target enrollment will be between 5,000 to 25,000 or more. Same, the target period is 2 decades. The target count is 1,000 to 2,000. So in another 20 years, the target enrollment ratio should be around GER, gross enrollment ratio should be between 5,000 to 25,000 or more. The number of such teaching universities should be at least a minimum of 1,000 universities should be made available. As far as the earlier case, the research universities, maximum what is expected in another 20 years should be another 20 years, it should be maximum around 150 to 300 such research universities in the type 1. Here it should be around 2,000 to 2,000 teaching universities. That is what is in the new National Education Policy guidelines, 1,000 to 2,000 teaching universities. Similarly, when we take the type 3, the individual constituent or affiliated colleges, whatever we have today, so they will be all offering undergraduate programs in addition to diploma certificate programs across disciplines and fields, including vocational and professional. All are combined here, the diploma certificate programs. When it comes to vocational or professional, everything comes under these colleges, and the focus is, the enrollment ratio focused is around 2,000 to 5,000 or even higher. In another same 20 years, the target colleges. So here in the second case it is 1,000 to 2,000, here it is 5,000 to 10,000 or more types of colleges which offer undergraduate programs in addition to diploma certificate programs in vocational and professional education. So substantial public investment will be made to expand and vitalize public education. So fair and transparent system for determining public funding. So the way of acquiring funds should be made transparent, and even public should be involved in generating these funds for running these institutions. And the central government funded higher education institutions should develop into type 1. Okay, all the existing central government funded institutions, let it be national institutions of all higher education, all national higher educational institutions of national importance today, whatever is existing should be transformed into type 1 institutions. That is a major concern. State level plans for new institutional architecture, support from the National Research Foundation, and equal encouragement and empowerment for private higher education institutions, and quality transformations of open and distance learning and expansion for access. And public investment carries one more major weightage in the higher education system. And disadvantaged geographies will be a priority. There will be at least one type 1 to type 3 institution in every district within 5 years. So all the categories, whatever we have seen, type 1, type 2, type 3, in every district at least one such type of institution should be made available in every district in another 5 years. Okay, the simplified institutional categories and streamlining university nomenclature has taken place, and also the degree granting powers. The degree granting powers are at present vested only with the universities. So this is the major transformation. So and this will change as autonomous colleges also gain the freedom to grant their own degrees. As far as today, as far as education is concerned, these autonomous colleges, what they do, they're all affiliated to the universities, and university is granting the degrees to the recommended candidates by the autonomous institutions. But this system will change, okay, where even the autonomous colleges will gain the freedom to grant their own degrees. So degree granting powers from the universities. These universities will focus more on the research perspective. By 2032, all higher educational qualifications, including all degrees and diplomas, should be granted only by accredited type 1, 2 or 3 institutions. Okay? So all the degrees, including diploma, shall be granted only by the accredited type 1, type 2 or type 3 institutions, as we have seen. And all affiliating universities will transition to a type 1 or type 2 institution with one or more campuses. Okay, all the affiliating universities will transition into a type 1 or 2 institution with one or more campuses. Whatever is existing today, all the universities should be transformed to type 1 or type 2 institutions, and the universities will have no affiliated colleges. So these universities automatically has to focus on the cutting edge research, new product innovation, and to ensure that the research, whatever is being done in these research universities, is competent globally. So that is the major focus. Why this change is made is only to improve the cutting edge research in new technologies and real-time problem solving for the society to be benefited is the focus in type 1 institutions. All currently affiliated colleges must develop into autonomous colleges. So whoever claims we are affiliated to a university should be able to develop into an autonomous institution to award their own degrees. That is the next transformation which is going to take place. And the type 3 by 2023 are merged completely with the university they are affiliated, or to develop into a university themselves as in type 1 or type 2. So this transformation has to take place where the affiliated universities which are affiliating to the institutions will give up the affiliation concept, and they will focus more as research universities, and all these autonomous institutions will transform themselves and award their own degrees. So that is the transformation what is expected in another 12 years. There will be an adequate time period provided for this transition to happen. This time period may extend up to maximum of 12 years by 2032. So this transformation in another 12 years has to happen, and there will be no affiliating universities or affiliated colleges after 2032. So affiliating universities will not be there, and affiliated colleges should become autonomous institutions offering their own degrees in another 12 years. The facilities and resources of colleges that do not develop into type 3 HEIs by 2032 will be optimized, will be utilized for public good and services. Okay. So the facilities and resources of the colleges that do not develop into type 3, as I told, the type 3 is the standalone or the individual institutions which fail to upgrade themselves at least minimum to an autonomous institution where they are capable of awarding their own degrees. So these resources will be optimally utilized for public good and services. So this transformation has to rapidly take place in another 12 years, where the individual institutions should upgrade into autonomous institutions, and the affiliating universities should give away the affiliation and focus more on the research. These are the two main things what is considered in the new education policy. So what are the overview of the curriculum and pedagogy? We will I will just give a glance through the key principles of the national education policy: respect for diversity and local context, okay, in all curriculum, pedagogy and the policy; equity and inclusion as the cornerstone of all the education decision. Similarly, the community participation, encouragement and facilitation for philanthropic, private and community participation in development of the higher education institutions are concerned is where philanthropy is given more importance, where people from the public are able to gain the opportunity to invest into the higher education institutions, let it be private. Then use of technology, as we know, and this is already done to some extent, but still it has to be extended further, where the digital aspects in learning should happen for the benefit of the students, and emphasize conceptual understanding rather than normal learning for exams. The test for examination should be entirely different, wherein the skill level of the students are being tested, unique capabilities of students, wherein we are able to recognize, identify from every student. Every student has got a unique talent, and this talent has to be identified, nurtured, and developed, as I told. Then critical thinking and creativity. So critical thinking is given more importance, where the students have to be more and more creative, and this creativity leads to innovation or product development should be the major concern, to encourage logical decision making and innovation. Innovation is the key to success in the NEP 2020. And continuous reviews, okay, based on the sustained research and regular assessment by the educational experts. So this system will certainly give a good output. So that is the outcome of NEP 2020 will be much better. Okay. So let us not focus more on the school education. Then, as I told, ensuring universal access to education at all levels. Okay. So the expected outcome for school education. Now, so as far as the curriculum changes are concerned, we are going to focus more on the core essentials. Curriculum in all subjects to be reduced to its core essentials. So this is the major focus in the curriculum. As far as the curriculum is concerned, we are going to focus more on the core essentials. Unwanted learning should not happen, and wasting of time. Instead of wasting time for learning unwanted things, or which is not really benefited for the students. So curriculum in all subjects should be reduced to core essentials, and next is to the critical thinking. As you know, so next is the critical thinking, where we have to focus on the critical thinking, inquiry, discovery, discussion, analysis based teaching and learning for holistic education. So this transformation has to take place. So the students are able to think critically, they are able to think on their own, they must have the inquiry capabilities, they must be able to discover, and they must be able to work in a team, discuss and analyze. As I told, the analytical capabilities have to be improvised, and the learning methods for adopting a holistic education should be a prime focus for critical thinking. Then interactive classes, okay, the classes interactive teaching with reduced dependency and textbook learning. This textbook learning should disappear, and interactive teaching and reduced dependency. The students should become independent, interactive, and they must be able to learn, they must be able to inquire more, and the students should be able to understand the system much better through interaction. And the next is the experiential learning. For the learning should be totally made fun, creative, collaborative, and exploratory, and may focus more major on activities in the classrooms for experiential learning, and deeper learning as far as the students are concerned. So in-depth learning can happen only through experiencing, through practical experimentation, involving themselves and identifying, exploring new knowledge and identifying new things from their own. They have to think outside the box. When thinking outside the box, critical thinking happens. Then the experience in learning takes place. The curriculum and pedagogy to be transformed by 2022 is to promote skill-based and minimize the normal routine-based learning. So this transformation has to take place, and even the revision of the National Council Framework for School Education and Teachers has taken place from 2009. So learning outcomes, the competencies and subject integration, as I told, the competency-based education, the students should be focused on improving their competencies and integration of subjects. And as I told, boundaries should disappear, and people should be able to integrate variety of subjects and learn everything. For the development of the scientific temper is another concern, where the students are able to understand the need for problem solving that exists to be solved in the society, and they're able to practice the constitution values, patriotism, sacrifice, truth, honesty, peace. All these things, along with the scientific temper, should be imbibed into the students. As I told, no silos among subjects are learning. Similarly, emphasis on the digital literacy and multilingual teaching should be also a prime focus. Okay. As I told, the mental and physical health and well-being, so normal health checkups annually should be conducted for the students. And even in the school education, we have to ensure that we reduce the weightage of the school bags, and mandatory health and wellness are given as a skill. Okay, health and wealth are both checked together. Similarly, hiring counselors in school complexes to ensure that the students are able to be counseled, and they are more creative. Focus on children with disabilities also is given more importance, and including caring culture at the school. So the culture for caring at the school also is given more emphasis. As I told, the innovative pedagogy, the transforming the teaching and learning processes, experiential learning, integrated pedagogy, the promotion for peer tutoring, equal weightage, no hard separation between curricular, co-curricular activities, and the freedom for choosing variety of subjects, combination of subjects, all are provided with equal weightage, bagless days, and use of technology at the school education. And also the textbook with local content and flavor, as I told in the earlier education, the students should be given more emphasis in their mother tongue itself. So India's future and India's leadership role is in the upcoming fields. Computational thinking should be given more emphasis, increased emphasis on mathematics and computational thinking throughout the school years. Similarly, computational thinking activities involving coding will be introduced in the middle stage. Mathematical thinking and problem solving for practicing more and more puzzles and games. Similarly, the contemporary subjects in schools, which includes artificial intelligence, design thinking, holistic education, organic living, environmental education, global citizenship education, that's called GCED, global education, wherein the global citizenship education, GCED, that is also given more importance, where AI becomes a major part of role in the new education policy, includes in the contemporary subjects even in the schools. The culture of assessment, as I told, is likely to be changed. Continuous tracking of learning, outcome-based education for the children, board exams to be more flexible with assessment and essential skills, assessment on core concepts, higher order thinking, and foundational skills. AI-based softwares will be made available to help track the progress of the students and internship, and to enable them to make optimal career choices. So students are given more optimal choices. Even AI-based softwares are likely to be used in the assessments and for identifying the subjects of their choice. Similarly, the National Assessment Center will develop in building greater synergy in board exams conducted by various board